Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. So if you want to or need to start over in your 60s, are you ready to let go of all of that sentimental clutter? So right now, as we speak, many baby boomers are preparing to declutter their homes so that they can downsize and live in a smaller home that is easier to get around in as they age. It's less expensive and easier to maintain, and it's often more affordable for those on fixed incomes. So regardless of the reason for why you want to downsize, shedding your stuff that you no longer want, need, or will use is an integral part of the decluttering and downsizing process when either you want to or you need to start over in your 60s. So if you skip over this phase and end up bringing much of your stuff with you to that smaller home, you'll quickly realize what a big mistake that you've made. So suddenly your new smaller home is cluttered, is overwhelmed by way too much stuff, and you'll probably start to ask yourself why you didn't sort through those boxes and bins of sentimental items that have been sitting in the corner of your basement or your attic for many years. But was it really that you wanted to take time, that you didn't want to take time to sort through those items? Or was it something else? Like maybe you were afraid to confront those sentimental items because you knew that they would trigger strong emotions, both good and bad. But you're human, we all are. So sometimes we avoid these difficult tasks and we put our head in the sand for a little while and deny those feelings so we don't have to confront them. So, but if you keep saying you want to declutter, you want to downsize, and you have to start over. So if you want to do that, it's important to learn how to let go of the sentimental items that you've been holding on to and have avoided letting go of for many years. And there are ways to let go of your sentimental clutter. Those items that are very sentimental to you without losing the memories of the loved one or the special moments in your life. This seems to be one of the biggest problems people have with decluttering. That's why I'm addressing it, because it keeps coming up. So to help you with this process, I've actually created a practical 5-step guide called Lose the Clutter, but Not the Memories. It's a step-by-step, very practical guide that will help you. If you are interested, then just email me at ritawilkins@ritawilkins.com. In the subject line, just put 5-step guide, and also please put your full name and your address, your email address, excuse me. So identify, these are the 5 steps. So identify the type of clutter that stops you right in your tracks. So this is definitely different for each one of us. So maybe it's inherited clutter. Many of you are dealing with inherited clutter from your parents' homes, and you're dealing with that, and it reduces you to tears, it gets you upset. Now, probably not all of it's sentimental, but the bottom line is that inheritance clutter is one of the 5 types of clutter that gets people. Or maybe it's attachment clutter. And this attachment clutter is the kind of clutter that we've attached a meaning to. Maybe it's a special person or a time of our life. Things like wedding albums, love letters from a deceased spouse, clothing from a deceased child or spouse. Those are attachment clutter items. Or maybe it's bargain clutter. So if you are a sale shopper, you know what I'm talking about. Likely you've accumulated lots of clutter because it was a good buy or a good bargain. And that might relate to shoes or decorative accessories for your home. But if you are a shopper and a bargain shopper, this is one of those types of clutter that you probably need to learn about so that you can let go of. Once you identify that type of clutter, the one that's the most challenging for you to let go of, and why, then it becomes easier for you to say goodbye to that, because you understand more about why you held on to something. So the second step in the 5-step guide is to pick one item, and this is something you could actually do right now. If you have something near you that means something to you, pick one item that means a lot to you, but you're being very challenged by letting go of it. And hold it in your hand and ask why it's so important to you, why you value it so much, and why you think it's so hard to let go of. So for me, it was always my mother's collection of teacups. She had many, and we often sat and had tea together, so it had wonderful memories. But I realized I couldn't keep all of those teacups. I did choose to keep 3 of my favorites, and then I distributed the rest to my sisters and brothers. So the third step is to ask yourself how that item makes you feel as you're holding it. So acknowledge those feelings, whether they're good or they're bad. You might feel loved, you might feel resentful, you might feel connected to that loved one. But ask yourself if you think that, what you think of that item, what you've made that item mean. And if you did let that go, so for instance, if I let go of my mother's teacups, I felt that I would lose the connection with her. Step 4, what would it feel like if you no longer were attached to that item? So how would it impact your life? And an example there, you might feel like I'm no longer resentful of my parents for leaving all of that stuff. I'm free of guilt and I'm free of anger. So, and how will it impact your future? So if you let go of that item, perhaps someone else would want it, and you could send it on to them. In the case of my sisters, having a few of our mother's teacups made them happy too. And step number 5 is to learn to let go. So obviously you could take a picture of it. I would definitely recommend that you tell a story about it. Maybe put it in one of those little Shutterfly albums, and that you choose just 2 or 3 of the items, and then donate the rest, or gift it to family members or friends that it would mean something to. Most importantly, though, remind yourself that it's just a thing. And in the case of my mom's teacups, the teacups were just teacups. And once I held that in my hand, and for many years I held on to them, and I moved from one house to the other. I carried them with me to 4 different houses, all 22 of them. So it was only after I realized that when I wanted to downsize to a smaller home, I was going to have to sort through those boxes that I had avoided for many, many years, fearing that if I got rid of some of the sentimental items like the teacups, that I would lose the connection and the memories that I had of not just my mom, but of my family. But it's not so. So try the 5-step guide that I've created, and it will help you learn how to let go of the sentimental clutter, but still hold on to the memories.